Hey, this is Chug, and today we're going to be looking at some Strog crouch sliding. Now I'm on Slash for the moment for a couple of reasons. First of all, I need to get used to sliding at this ping. I have to use the NA test server, so I've got 190. That is a small impact on my movement. But secondly, I need to demonstrate that despite the ping, I can maneuver reasonably fluidly through the map on Slash, so that when we see Strog, we can understand. Like, you have some contrast as to what to expect. So the first thing that you'll notice, if you're a Slash player, is that the slide friction is higher. This has a couple of effects. The least interesting is the speed. So just to cover that, because that's the most obvious one. If I want to slide jump to rail, which can be done on this character, reasonably consistent. I've missed it a couple of times, but that's laziness from having played Slash and being able to cheat it a little bit. But this sort of slide jump, I'd expect Slash to get 620, maybe 640 units per second. Strog, as you saw just then, 570, 592, pretty good. I'll do it once more. That was much much slower. But you can see there's about a 50-point difference in speed when it comes to this specific kind of slide. And that's pretty good. It definitely could have been much worse. So having a consistent bridge to rail, thumbs up. Excellent. The more interesting component of the slide friction being higher is that, what's the best way to describe this? So if I'm, let's say I come down here. If I'm playing Slash, and I want to slide over there, I kind of know what I need to do. I need to jump, put my crosshair somewhere like here. No, put my crosshair somewhere like here, and do that. There's an area that is good. There's a speed that is good for consistent acceleration through the slide, and then you hit the jump key and you set your direction. But on Strog, it feels like these factors are tweaked. They're different. So if this were to be the optimal spot for Slash, for example, let's say Strog's spot is here, and if Slash was had a certain speed, maybe Strog has to move faster. These are this is what I'm tinkering with now. I definitely would like more time on a lower ping once he hits live servers, so I can really define it. But if you were to really refine your Slash mechanics, like I feel as though I have to a degree, and then you just apply them to Strog, you're going to run into a lot of difficulty because your crosshair is out of position. Because if this is supposed to be the spot this is where your crosshair is supposed to be, and you're by instinct putting it here, you're sacrificing too much space. You're not controlling the arc properly. If your instinct is to move your mouse at a certain pace, but it needs to be faster to keep up with the optimal line of acceleration, let's say if my crosshair's here, I want to accelerate. Let's say there's a vertical line that moves as the target that you're supposed to track with. But if you're doing
5-minute warning.
Sorry, loud announcer. But if you're doing it on Strog, maybe that line moves faster, and you'll just fall behind, and you'll suddenly not be accelerating anymore, and your natural instincts will let you down. So what I found personally, crosshair a little bit wider, mouse a little bit faster, equals better results. So I'd definitely like to define those a little bit more specifically and really get familiar with that, but that's soon to come. Now, the other major difference, slide duration. So on Strog, we'll just come down here, the being on a flat surface, the slide it feels about 70% of what Slash can do. That could be that's just what it feels like. That could be affected by the average speed being lower, Slash being able to go further, but just because she's traveling faster. But definitely feels like a shorter slide than Slash. You're also not you don't gain the benefit of doing long drop slides like this. So on Slash you'd be able to slide probably up to heavy, but here I have trouble making it to the shotgun. This has a big impact on how you move through the map. So if you were a Slash player, you take the Mega, you can come here, slide through, get across to Rocket quite nicely. And maybe that's possible on Strog with a bit more fine-tuned control. But that's a very risky path to take. This is not the sort of thing you should be going for. What I've found is that if you break down the long, smooth, graceful slides that Slash can do in certain parts of the map, break them down into to hops and skips, you'll have a lot more success. So instead, land a bit wide here, slide jump, land here, preserve your momentum with good crosshair position and good crosshair motion at like 570. You'll drop down some amount of speed. I'm not sure. I haven't actually looked at the numbers, but you'll drop down and then you do a normal slide jump, and that'll generate enough speed for you. Like that. I don't know how difficult that is. I've sort of lost perspective on what a new Slash player can do. I've played it too much. The crouch sliding is something that is just too natural for me at the moment. So I can do this quite consistently, but I can imagine that players would struggle with getting to this part and maintaining the speed, and with the higher ground friction especially, avoiding dropping down to 440 units per second or lower, and that would kill your potential of making this. So this is what the stronger Slash players can do. The people who have a bit more experience with this kind of movement, don't beat yourself up if you can't make this, because and if you do have trouble, you do try. The sticking point will be maintaining your speed when you land when you land at this point for this jump. I guess I should say how you do it. I sort of mentioned you have to have your crosshair in the right position, and you have to be moving your crosshair at the right speed. The timing of this is important. If you place your crosshair in a certain spot and you move it too early, like when you're at this sort of position, you sacrifice too much mouse space, and when you land, your crosshair is actually over here, and you don't have enough space. If you do it late, you land, the ground friction will take over, and you can do a slide jump, but it would just be as though you've done this, and you'll be close, but you won't make it. So it's really about
1 minute warning.
I got 1 minute. It's really about landing. Sorry. What I did, the trick that helped me, was that I tied my mouse movement. I moved the mouse when I pressed the crouch button. Now I've been pressing this since day one of Slash, so I've got this down pretty well. You hit the crouch button just before you land. If I deliberately sync my mouse movement to that, I'm going to be moving my mouse just before I land consistently. That was literally the first time I've done this, done that jump. So it is possible. And I think it was the crosshair position, moving the mouse at the right moment, and moving it to the right speed that enabled me to do that. So that's what you need to practice if you want to get good at Strog. But yeah, just to clarify once more, you're not going to have these long, sweeping, graceful slides. Break it down into short skips. Have very short-term movement goals when it comes to Strog. Don't
First place.
blast through the map with these long, planned routes. Yeah, you have 50 extra armor. That doesn't make you invincible. So that'll be all from me. I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you later.